Well, hello again. Good morning. Do apologise, everybody. Yes, we had a couple of technical challenges this morning. We're back for the OFI Cup, brought to you and powered by Motorsport Australia as we look ahead to the Spa Francorchamp round. And, of course, in recent times, in recent memory, it's all been about Gregory Prisball, who has already taken 4 out of the last 5 race wins. The most recent one, though, going the way of Campbell Adams, who holds the track record where we're heading to today, and that is Spa Francorchamp. Lindsay, just as we get into it, apologies obviously once again to everyone who were just listening to us, but Lindsay, a phenomenal series so far, largely gone Gregory Prisball's way, but you'd be a fool to count out Campbell Adams at this mid-stage point.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I would count out Campbell Adams at this point is because he's had 2 rounds where he hasn't been able to attend, so he's 57 points back of Gregory Prisball. He was unable to attend the opening round in Australia, and he wasn't able to make it to Imola either. Without those 2 factors, I think that Gregory Prisball probably wouldn't have won 4 on the trot for a start, and I think that Campbell Adams would be nipping right at his heels. But right now, Campbell has a very overarching gap to try and close down over the rest of this series.
Yeah, has a great opportunity as well to extend that lead at the top of the championship. Does Gregory Prisball wait and see if he can do that after sequential wins coming in from Australia, as well as the Qatar round at Losail, then we went to Montreal and then Imola, where he managed to take the top prizes. Obviously, Campbell Adams, our most recent race winner, back at Silverstone. But a big good morning to everyone in the live chat. We really appreciate your company as well and your time. Please get involved in the live chat, and first and foremost as well, get involved by following the Oceania F1 Invitational Twitch channel. That is where we are live here today, and also check out the OFI on Twitter as well. But looking ahead to today, what can we expect from a track like Spa Francorchamp here, Lindsay?
Well, I think we're going to see some more overtaking than potentially at some of the other tracks over the course of this series. Australia was good for overtaking, but Qatar, Canada and Imola probably weren't the best when it came to overtaking, but it's a 7-kilometre racetrack here at Spa, so it's going to create a lot of overtaking opportunities, especially through the Camel Straight, and you can't discount the run down into Rivage as well. Even with a bit of dirty air, it is possible to get a good exit, get a good run in the bus stop as well. That final chicane creates a lot of overtaking opportunity.
It certainly does, folks. There it is in all its grandeur. Spa Francorchamp, of course, the home of the Formula One Belgian Grand Prix. As I said, Campbell Adams holding the track record around this circuit with a 1:41.723. That was done back on the 16th of May earlier this year. And in total, plenty for this track to harness in terms of number of corners. As we prior mentioned, 19 turns, 7.004 kilometres, extending to 4.352 miles. And we're going to be running this over short qualifying as well here, Lindsay, which is a bit of a contrast to what we've had already in the past, because generally we were sort of harnessing the full qualifying, but with the short quali, it means we're going to get a short and snappy affair. Obviously, with no drivers getting eliminated, but at the same time, they need to be on the ball in terms of bringing their best laps.
Yeah, I mean, we had short qualifying at, I believe it was Qatar and Canada and Silverstone that I did commentary for. I think one of them might have been a full quali that I was there for. I think Canada was the one that was full qualifying. So I think Qatar and Silverstone were short qualifying. So I'm used to that short, snappy nature. But in that short, snappy nature, it brings more mistakes and more pressure towards these drivers at the top end of the field. You've really got to deliver on the opening attempt. You don't have another session where you can scrape through and then you get another few laps. You have to deliver at the time, right on the spot over the course of 18 minutes. It is really high pressure.
It really is high pressure, folks. We'll just take you through the calendar as well for this season, just to confirm to you the results of our last 5 races. As you can see, Gregory Prisball taking Melbourne on the 2nd of October. 9th of October then went the way of Gregory Prisball again when we went to Losail, and then Montreal and Imola. Both went Gregory Prisball's way on the 16th and 23rd of October, and then we touched down in Silverstone at the old air base, where Campbell Adams would later grab his first victory of the season. We now move ahead to our midway point. We've just crossed the midway point. We're into the second half of the season now. We've arrived at Spa Francorchamp here on the 13th of November, with Austin, Texas to follow as well on the 20th. Then Mexico on the 27th, and Interlagos, the penultimate round, on December 4th, before we then head to Yas Marina to Abu Dhabi on the 11th of December. So do be sure to join us for all of those. Plenty of action still to come. A little reminder of the season's grid. We've got Jack Humphreys and Viper in the McLaren, Oscar King, Sebastian King at Ferrari. Then comes Gregory Prisball, Matt Plevey at Red Bull. Then Marcus Costa, F1 Ferrari Pro at Mercedes. Ryan Bell, Thomas McInnes in the Aston Martin. Campbell Adams and Mousy in the Alpine. Auxilio and Websey are in the Haas, and then we have Riley McKay and MJ Roller in the RB. Potato and Yusuf Seed is then in the Williams. We have Ryan Cox and Joshua Lee rounding off the runners in the Sauber. And tonight's grid, this is how it does look for round 6 at Spa. Jack Humphreys flying solo here this evening at McLaren. We have Apollo Pepsi stepping in place of Oscar King, who's away on business here today, and he's alongside Sebastian King, however, so there is going to be one King in the cockpit. Gregory Prisball alongside Matt Plevey at Red Bull, Marcus Costa flying solo at Mercedes, Ryan Bell, Thomas McInnes at Aston Martin, Campbell Adams and Miauzi in Alpine, Auxilio and Joey Snarf stepping up for Haas, and Riley McKay, MJ Roller at Racing Bulls. Flubber steps in at Williams as a reserve alongside Yusuf Said, and then Ryan Cox going solo at Sauber. So that is how your grid looks this time around. And before we get into Spa Francorchamp for qualifying, let's take a look at a hot black guide. Well, do apologise, doesn't look like we do have a hot lap guide, but we do have a little track map that we got to see once again. But the action now well and truly underway. We are joined by our drivers for today. 17-car grid here, Lindsay. The opportunities for pole position have opened up, I think, for many already now throughout this session. Obviously, Riley McKay, known to be decent over one lap pace, could be one to watch here this morning or this evening, wherever you're watching in the world.
Yeah, I think Riley's been the one to watch all season so far, and he just hasn't really pulled out the result that any of us has really been expecting him to pull out. I mean, he had the promising P2 at Australia, but he was so on for pole position over the course of that night, and then he got to Q3, didn't deliver the lap, and then Qatar and Canada were pretty dreary rounds for Riley McKay, all things considered. He got wrapped up in an incident on lap number 1 after not getting the best start. And then Monza, he got second place, but then back off the podium heading into Silverstone. So he's got some ground to make up here. He's currently third in the standings, 53 points back from Gregory Prisball, and still hunting his first win in OFI ever. He has not won in OFI as far as I'm aware, and from what I've been told from many people, so I'm pretty sure it stacks up correctly. He's still hunting a win here in OFI at all, not just in this series. So he'll really want to deliver. Spa is a good track for him, but Gregory Prisball and Campbell Adams, they just did PSGL here, so they're all practiced up. Yeah, many drivers now moving across into pastures new with PSGL coming from the Oceanic regions. Ryan Cox now kicking off our qualifying phase with our first hot lap of the session. We're going to ride on board here with Ryan Cox in the very unique looking Kick Sauber in its camo style livery as he now flies uphill through towards the Laycom section, opening up the throttle once again. It was a 30.241 inside that first sector, but he's just been pipped by Jack Humphreys as he now hustles down through towards Rivage this time. And then head up through towards No Name Corner, which has now since been renamed as well into Jackie X Bend. And then heading down in towards Pouon, where he's going to have to try and make his way around without invalidating. Very easy to do if you cross that white line on the white outside. But no concerns here for Ryan Cox as he now makes his way down towards the Lafanier chicane. In terms of purple first sectors, it's still in the hands right now of Jack Humphreys. That 30.209 holding steady so far, even with the rest of the grid now popping through the first sector split as now the second sectors get registered. And again, it's Jack Humphreys with a 43.1. But Ryan Cox's time, not terrible, but outside by a tenth of a second of the man in 15th, Jack Humphreys, is now Riley McKay steals the purple middle sector. Here comes Ryan Cox now, down through towards the bus stop chicane. Just runs it perhaps a little bit too deep coming out of the first corner apex, coming through the bus stop this time. But it's a 141.267. Jack Humphreys will promptly move into first place. But there are others to watch. Riley McKay, who has already gone purple inside that middle sector, goes fastest of anybody now with a blister in time to set himself just under 0.6 of a second apart. Yeah, that was an absolutely fantastic lap from Riley McKay, and now Gregory Prisball is making his way through the middle sector behind the cockpit of the Red Bull, and he's making his way now into the third sector. It's a 1 minute 13.150 as he heads through the sector split. So he's just got the bus stop to go now, and then he'll be home free. How close or ahead of Riley McKay can he be is the big question now as he heads through Blanchimont, and now the tricky part, the bus stop chicane. You have to nail the braking into this braking zone. He gets the car checked up over the curb. Now get it through the second part. It looked a little bit wide there from Gregory Prisball as Campbell Adams does a 40.2. Can Gregory Prisball respond? No, it's a 1 minute 40.559 to put him behind even Riley McKay. So Campbell Adams stealing the show here with a 1 minute 40.267.
The early blow struck by our race winner from last time out. Campbell Adams back on top in a position that he'd love to be used to this campaign, but largely it's been very tricky to stop Gregory Prisball, despite obviously challenges from many. Campbell Adams, though, has of course no-showed a couple of events already through the first half of the championship, but nevertheless, when he has been here, he's always been there asking the major questions of the other competitors around him. But that 140.2 from our track lap record holder, now looking to carry it out right through to the bitter end. Obviously still plenty of time left. We've got 12 minutes now on the clock. And we've also got a lap coming through from Apollo Pepsi in his first start with us, or back as a reserve, I should say, for this particular round, embracing the Ferrari alongside Sebastian King. And Sebastian King, his teammate, currently sat down in 14th, of course, brother of Oscar King. As now Apollo Pepsi makes his way down the hill through towards Rivage once again. But a really impressive lap there from Campbell Adams, and with all the talk around Gregory Prisball especially, that heightens that level of pressure, does it not, Lindsay, when you're up against a championship contender who has been so dominant in the first 4 rounds of the season, only then to come to a track where obviously you are quite prudent at. You know, you've got the track record, you now come here and put it on provisional pole. You know, this is the right time to start unleashing those great results.
Yeah, it is. It'll put the pressure on here for Gregory Prisball for sure. And he's now heading in towards the pit lane. And, he's just made contact with one of the Williams here. It was Yusuf. And, 5-place grid penalties. That'll be corrected by the soft lobby reset that we get. But interesting stuff going on here in qualifying. But, yeah, the pressure will be rising now for Gregory Prisball heading in towards the second runs in this qualifying session. We already see the likes of Ryan Cox heading back out onto the circuit for a second bite at the cherry, but a really long lap here, so any mistake is just going to waste a load of time, at least 1 minute 40 seconds when you head around the lap. If you invalidate, you've then got to get back to the pit lane, and it is a very, very long drive back to the pit lane thinking about the mistake you've just made, and especially when you're not on the pace, such a long track. There's a lot of time to gain time, but there's also a lot of time to lose time. So, yeah, especially around Spa, I feel like this is where this is a track where the pressure is just so elevated.
Yeah, definitely is that. Obviously, if you are tuning in around the globe, folks, first again, we thank you for your company. And secondly, let's hear your predictions. We want to see them in the live chat, folks. Get involved, and we want to hear from you. Let us know which driver you think is going to harness pole position at the close of qualifying here at Spa Francorchamp. Campbell Adams currently your provisional pole sitter with a 140.267. Riley McKay out on an outlap as well. Strong majority of this grid now making their way back out onto the circuit. We've still got quite a bit of time. Drivers probably at this stage could field maybe 3 laps, I think, with the remaining time left. So it's not all over just yet.
Yeah, it's certainly not. There's still time, and drivers will be pumping in the second laps now very, very shortly here in a second as Ryan Cox is about to kick off the second runs in this qualifying session. But still, I think that Campbell Adams is more inclined to now set a lap that's even faster again and put the pressure on. How can Gregory Prisball respond to that challenge? A completely different story. If he goes faster, then he'll be happy. If Riley McKay as well, he can get himself right into the thick of it. They are definitely both capable drivers of matching Campbell Adams and going above and beyond him on their day as well. So They have a lot of time to use, a couple of laps to try and improve, and it'll just come down to what happens in the final runs. But middle runs, definitely a helpful tool for just relieving the pressure a little bit.
Well, I'm not sure whether Ryan Cox was on a flying lap then, but got caught up quite badly. I think it was with Marcus Costa on the run up through Eau Rouge and Radion, and he was pretty much blocking the path for Ryan Cox to continue on a flying lap, and indeed he has pulled out of this one. So that is surely not going to help, and Ryan Cox is going to have to prepare for yet another run. So less than ideal, and Ryan Cox, who's currently sat down in 8th fastest. Remember, we're not doing a full qualifying session here tonight, folks. Obviously, remember, we are doing the short run, so only 8 minutes until the absolute end of qualifying. So Ryan Cox can't afford for any more of those moments really to occur. And just little moments like that can really put you on the back foot, can't they, Lindsay? When you're building up to that crucial lap, building up to this one piece of execution that you're looking to bring to a track like Spa, one of the longest tracks you're going to see on the Formula One calendar. And then when you get a blue flag situation, it is just a disaster.
Yeah, and it can do a few things. It can disrupt your rhythm. You could be right into it in that sort of autonomous zone where you're driving without even thinking, and that's when you drive your best. And then you get blocked, and then just like that, you snap back into reality and you're out of your flow. And as well, you can lose your head a little bit, and it's sometimes tricky to get yourself back into that sort of calm state heading into another lap. So it could be very detrimental here for Ryan Cox or anybody else who discovers any sort of issue like that, as we have one of the McLarens heading up towards the line. It's Jack Humphreys. He's going to cross the line. He's gone P5. Riley McKay is heading into the bus stop chicane now. He is just about up, but he's invalidated heading through the final chicane. So now the eyes are on to Gregory Prisball, who's currently 800ths up and just ahead of the track compared to Campbell Adams. He is not far enough up, though, to get closer to Campbell Adams, and he's at a snap for good measure.
Yeah, not great, but he is purple inside the middle sector, so Gregory Prisball looking to unlock the P1 door here. Flying through Blanchimont, the fastest portion of track you're going to see here at Spa. And now down through towards the bus stop chicane at turns 18 and 19. Hits the first corner apex perfectly. Now making his way out of the final corner. And your current championship leader, 4 times a race winner this season, can only go second fastest, but closer now to the back of Campbell Adams to the tune of 81 thousandths of a second. Narrow margins as Campbell Adams goes faster again, and now once again sends it beyond a 10th.
Yep, he is absolutely flying out there at the moment and really putting the pressure onto Gregory Prisball. He's going to have to deliver heading into the final runs, otherwise he will not be on pole position. Riley McKay, he wasn't super far up on his lap time heading into the bus stop, but that invalidation still costly. Yusuf unable to improve in 4th as well, so a lot of pressure to go round here on this grid, and a couple of these drivers really struggling to get to grips with Spa and get around there as quickly as possible. Campbell Adams absolutely switched on from the get-go, though. He's absolutely on it here in qualifying at Spa, and he is in the hot seat now to take pole position.
Yeah, Marcus Costa has improved to 8th fastest. We've also seen T-Mac go 10th fastest as well. Matt Plevey just leaving the pits, getting ready for yet another run. Sebastian King on another lap, and currently, or he was on another lap, I think. My timing screen just having a little bit of a mare there, but it was showing him having a personal best inside the first sector, but indeed that was on his last recorded run. But Gregory Prisball now making his way around the track and will eventually bring his car into the pits. But now you've got a situation where 2 of our race winners so far this campaign now sit on the provisional front row. That's quite mouth-watering, Lindsay.
Yeah, it really is. And at the end of the day, these 2 fighting for pole, they are absolutely the best of the best. So it really does mean a lot. They already have championship battles in other places. So now in your home regions cup, in a Motorsport Australia sanctioned cup, the pressure is elevated and you've really got to want to come out on top. Gregory Prisball has the upper hand in the championship. However, he won't want to let any more rounds go Campbell Adams' way. So taking pole is a great way to sort of boost your confidence a bit, as if he needs a boost. But it's just a way to go, yeah, I still have this under control. I don't have to worry at all.
Well, I mean, this could see the championship closed out relatively early on, but It's been an exciting one to say the least, and Gregory Prisball really harnessing his brilliance once more. But Campbell Adams just reminding him who else sits at the top of the Oceanic F1 calendar. As now Matt Pleavy makes his way the long way round the bus stop chicane, getting ready for another run. So he's going to be out of sync from everybody else, as we just see T-Mac move into the pit lane in the background. So Matt Pleavy going for what I can only imagine his final lap here right now, with 3 minutes or so to go. And I'm sure now, very soon, we'll see the rest of the field head out on their out laps. So Matt Pleavy needs this to be a good one here at this stage here, Lindsay, because he currently sits P12, and he knows that everyone else will be improving on an optimal surface.
Yeah, he's going to need to find a significant amount of time, and he is doing so at the moment. He's 2/10 up through the first sector as he now heads through Malmedy and down the hill towards Rivage. So this is going to be critical for him. He needs to set the lap on the spot right now. He's going to have no worries when it comes to traffic. It's just about himself and delivering the lap at the moment. Currently sitting in 12th. He needs to find a little bit more time to find himself inside that top 10. He was 2/10 up heading through the first sector. He needs to be 3/10 up to skip ahead of T-Mac and inside the top 10. And considering everybody else has still got a lap to go in their qualifying, he needs to find even a bit more than that, because other drivers will improve into that top 10 region.
Yeah, they're all improving at the moment. Of course, they're now about to set in place their final runs. Every other car now leaving the pits. The only one that sits in there is T-Mac, and he just joins the rest on their out laps here this time. But Matt Pleavy will be the first to cross the line in our final laps. So they're going to be fielded by these drivers. 2 personal bests inside the first 2 sectors could be enough to send him inside the top 10, albeit for now. Here comes the Red Bull. Matt Pleavy, he will only go as high as 11th. No top 10 here for Matt Pleavy. It's 11th at best, which now provides a grand opportunity for everyone else inside that's well, anywhere below 10th place here at this stage to better Matt Pleavy's time, which could see Pleavy drop right to the rear of the field.
Yeah, that's really not optimal there for Pleavy. He had a big snap heading out of the bus stop. He was 3/10 up, probably more, heading through the braking zone, got over the exit curb, had a bit of a snap, and it just didn't work out for him at the end of the lap, and probably lost around a 10th, maybe a 10th and a half from it as well. So he'll be kicking himself for that little mistake. But now the battle for pole is about to begin. Riley McKay is about to start a lap. Gregory Prisball not too far behind him, and then Campbell Adams a little bit further down the road again. But Riley McKay will be the first one to kick off proceedings here in the final runs.
Well, I'd say technically Flubber has already kicked it off. He's making his way through Eau Rouge and Radion, and now coming up through the Kemmel Straits with DRS open. So the Williams now storming up through towards Les Combes. He's also got Joey Snarf, I think, just in behind, looking to usher in his final lap as well. So do expect those sectors to improve. We're now reaching the precipice of qualifying. Let us know your predictions in the live chat. That's what it's there for. As now Flubber makes his way through the first sector, now into sector 2 proper. And we'll await those purple sector times to unleash, as now we watch him make his way downhill through Pouon once again, and for the final time in mainstay qualifying. Heading down in towards the Lafanier chicane. What can Flubber do here to try and lift himself out of the bottom echelons of this 17 car classification that we do have here? Matt Pleavy has taken the checkered flag already, having already fielded his final lap the last time around. As now they come through Blanchimont now. Flubber looking to bounce off the walls here before heading down in towards the bus stop chicane in the Williams. Can he find anything at all? Currently sat with 2 personal bests in the first 2 sectors. That could yet be enough to dislodge Pleavy. It will be enough for 7th fastest. Great time ushered in by Flubber. So does jump Matt Pleavy, who now drops to 12th. Joey Snarf invalidated his last run. He will not be improving. Gregory Prisball coming around the final corners as well, and looking to usher in his best time. We've got Jack Humphreys also in the mixer too. Elsewhere, no improvements here on offer for Well, Riley McKay goes third fastest. Jack Humphreys fifth now for now, as Gregory Prisball goes first fastest now with a 140.175, saving that best for last. There's Campbell Adams making his way around the final corners. It's Prisball, Adams, McKay provisionally here for now, but can Adams cement himself on top? Yes, he can! It's Campbell Adams who goes fastest here at the end of the qualifying session here at Spa. A 140.155. Yusuf Said goes fourth fastest as well. Great time for him, but it's Campbell Adams on pole position ahead of the Spa Francorchamp race by 200ths of a second. Absolutely extraordinary stuff. A phenomenal lap time. Campbell Adams goes fastest, a 140.155, 200ths ahead of Gregory Prisball. Riley McKay makes the top three also. Yusuf Said with a great qualifying session. Of course, do dismiss the 5-place grid penalty. That will be removed when we get into the nitty-gritty later on. Auxilio in fifth ahead of Ryan Bell. Ryan Cox, disappointing qualifying for him, down in 7th place ahead of Jack Humphreys, who I think will also be kicking himself. Trent Newton in 9th, Flubber in 10th. Marcus Costa in 11th, T-Mac in 12th, Matt Plevey in 13th, ahead of Apollo Pepsi, MJ Roller, Sebastian King, and Joey Snarf, last of the cars. Quite a thrilling end to that, Lindsay.
Yeah, it really was. That was really, really close stuff. 200ths is such a minuscule margin between the two of them, and I'll tell you what, both of the drivers who were P1 and P2 found themselves in a position where they made a mistake at the final chicane. It looked like to me that Campbell went a little bit deep in and Gregory Prisball had a snap on the exit. So I think that both of them lost a bit of time there, so you can't say which mistake was worse or which mistake cost them pole position at the end of the day. The result is the result, and Campbell Adams put together the most complete lap by a tiny, tiny margin, but that mistake there from Gregory Prisball will haunt him, and Campbell Adams will be delighted to be on pole position. That was absolutely blistering from the both of them in that qualifying session. They were just leaps and bounds above the rest.
Yeah, of course, we do have a lobby reset, I believe, as well, Lindsay, so I don't think we are going to be taking to the track just yet, though the drivers are getting set for a rain-soaked race, and indeed many of them jump in the start, so we will not have a race just yet, folks. We will have a lobby reset, obviously owing to the issues that we do have from time to time at the end of qualifying sessions, especially with the nature of the penalties that get divvied out, etc. But from what we have seen, from what we can digest from what we witnessed in qualifying, obviously the one lap pace favouring Campbell Adams this time. Generally, we've noticed that trend with Riley McKay, though, haven't we, Lindsay, with extraordinary one lap pace in the past. He'll start from 3rd place. He could also be a thorn in the side for the front two here.
Yeah, especially come the opening lap, the slipstream up the Eau Rouge and Raidillon and onto the Camel Straight. We've seen it in the past. Some iconic moments. 2018 comes to mind with Sebastian Vettel heading in towards Les Combes, and that slipstream down to that chicane is very, very powerful. So I think we'll find that Campbell, Riley, and Gregory Prisball all have the opportunity to take the lead heading into the middle sector of the lap on the opening lap, but you've got to imagine it'd be one of the top two, Campbell Adams or Gregory Prisball. It's all about that run up the hill. Yeah,
no, it's going to be an interesting run. Obviously, generally speaking, we see a plethora of the overtakes happening inside that first sector, don't we, Lindsay? Obviously, when we have La Source, and then by extension, moving up through Eau Rouge and Raidillon before blasting up the Kemmel Straight, you'll see drivers trying to make use of the slipstream and what little slipstream we have here on F125 before then hitting the apex at the top of the hill at the Les Combes section. Now, there are plenty of places here at Spa. It's one of those unique tracks, really, on the circuit. I say unique very carefully because, of course, it does have corners that other tracks have. Of course they do. But just with the very nature of Spa, with its long distance, it's had many changes since its inception, well over 100 years ago. But it offers so much. Even if you do have a situation where dirty air is an absolute monster and there is next to zero slipstream, you can make things happen in the corners here.
Yeah, you definitely can. There's so much time to gain. That middle sector is really crucial. It's super easy to make mistakes as well there. So if you just pressure the car in front of you enough, then you definitely find yourself with the opportunity to make up a place just from that. It doesn't necessarily all have to be down to the slipstream and DRS, which we know is not super powerful here on F125. It's all about forcing mistakes and taking advantage of the opportunities you're given, the hand you're dealt. And I think that these drivers are going to be more than capable of doing that and making some overtakes happen here around the course of 22 laps. So I'm really intrigued to see how this is going to go. And I think that this is really, it's going to be a good race. This track creates such good overtaking, such good racing, plenty of opportunity. So I think it's going to be a very exciting 22 laps.
Yeah, no, absolutely spectacular stuff. And as you can see, the elevation change very much paramount here at Spa. I've had the pleasure of commentating many a race here at Spa, both in the virtual sense and in real life, whether it be F1 sim racing or whether it be GTs or even single-seater in real life. I mean, we've witnessed many maneuvers obviously happening up the Kemmel Straight. I'm thinking of many up at in the Formula Regional side of things. I remember watching Gabriele Bortoleto go side by side with Hadrian David for the race win here at Spa in the past back in 2022. And since then we've witnessed many other moments around this circuit also, especially in the Euro Formula Open Championship. Single-seater racing goes hand in hand with this monster of a racetrack. Spa Francorchamp always delivers. Campbell Adams, your track record holder, now sits in place with pole position in the palm of his hand, which will only help him. A little reminder as to how the calendar has looked and how the results have gone as well in the past. Gregory Prisball winning the first 4 races, with Melbourne, Losail, Montreal and Imola going his way. That's the first 4 rounds of this championship. Campbell Adams, who will sit on pole position for this race, coming off the back of a win at Silverstone, and he could repeat the feat of Gregory Prisball, becoming the second driver out of 2 to take back-to-back victories here if it goes from lights to flag, Lindsay.
Yeah, he definitely can, and I think he's in a good position to try and do so. And Gregory Prisball is going to have a hard time trying to stop him. Campbell Adams looked more composed over the course of the whole qualifying session. Gregory Prisball did deliver a lap in the end that wasn't quite good enough, but they definitely both have the pace. But when you were so comfortable throughout the entire qualifying session compared to just hooking up one lap, it spurs you on for some more confidence heading into the main event.
Yeah, no, it definitely does that. Obviously, in terms of other things of note, the season's grid, a little reminder as to how it shapes up. Jack Humphries and Viper at McLaren, Oscar King, Sebastian King at Ferrari. Only one King in the cockpit, though, here today, with Gregory Prisball and Matt Pleavy. The other King, actually, in the live chat. Good to see you, by the way, Oscar. Gregory Prisball, Matt Pleavy at Red Bull, Marcus Costa, F1 Ferrari Pro at Mercedes, Ryan Bell, Thomas McInnes at Aston Martin, Campbell Adams, who will sit on pole for the start of this one alongside Miauzi at Alpine, Oxchillo and Websey at Haas, and then we have Riley McKay and MJ Roller at Racing Bulls, and then we have Potato and Yusuf Said at Williams, Ryan Cox and Joshua Lee at Sauber. We then take a look at tonight's grid with Jack Humphries, the sole runner at McLaren, Apollo Pepsi, and Sebastian King go hand in hand at Ferrari. Then we have Gregory Prisball, Matt Pleavy at Red Bull, Marcus Costa flying solo at Mercedes, Ryan Bell, Thomas McInnes at Aston Martin, Campbell Adams and Miauzi at Alpine, Oxchillo and Joey Snarf at Haas, with Riley McKay and MJ Roller at Racing Bulls, Flubber and Yusuf Said at Williams, and Ryan Cox at Sauber also. So there we go. And then we have a look at, once again, the indeed. But we do appreciate your time. This is another opportunity as well for me to actually push the social medias and get you guys involved once again. Obviously, if you haven't done so already, folks, please do support the OFI on Twitch. It's great to see sim racing making waves in the oceanic regions. Of course, it's always been an uncharted territory for most sports, and I know even for the likes of the world of darts as well, having speaking to a few big names inside the PDC at the moment, they're sending more and more sport over to the oceanic regions at the moment, and also sim racing with a grand footprint now in this nation, and obviously spearheaded by Slammer, who has put this incredible event together and has partnered up with Motorsport Australia. It certainly is a crowning moment that signifies that sim racing has certainly arrived on the scene, and Motorsport Australia here to support as well. So a big thank you to our proud partners, Motorsport Australia, for supporting the OFI Cup. And I think that is very much true, isn't it, Lindsay? Stepping up now, Motorsport Australia supporting the championship and now levying a foothold in the world of sim racing. I think that's fabulous.
Yeah, I think it really is. The support is absolutely fantastic. It creates opportunities for everybody, for the drivers, for anybody out there. I think that even for me, I'm going to use myself as an example here. I think that as multiple people might have known, I most recently took a foothold to the real world in commentary, and I think that was mainly spearheaded by the fact that in my show reel, I had some of the Motorsport Australia OFI stuff into it, and I think just that Motorsport Australia name, it definitely just gives a lot more credit to anybody, any of these young people do out here, and I think that it's really good to see. And we've also seen Oscar King make his step into Ferrari, and you know, Gregory Prisbill's been with VA for so long, same with Riley McKay. It's creating opportunities up and down.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen also Campbell Adams, our pole sitter, now a PSGL champion as well, I believe, winning the F3 title, which is absolutely phenomenal. So congratulations to him on that. But also, I want to congratulate you live on stream as well, Lindsay. I think ultimately on achieving your dream as well, by and large, of becoming a commentator for single-seater racing. I mean, that is a proud moment, getting your first stint inside a real-life commentary box. And I think it's great, and I think it proves that sim racing is a fantastic proving ground for young people who want to get involved in the sport.
Yeah, I really do think it is, and I think that it also gives you the opportunity to do that much more. So you can practice so much more, whether you're a driver or commentator. You know, I commentate several times a week, and these drivers race several times a week, and I think it just creates that greater opportunity, that ability to get better quicker, because in the real world, there's not events every single day almost, whereas here in sim racing, there's an opportunity to do anything you want to do almost every single day. So I think that side of things as well is a big help. So I think sim racing is an absolutely great tool and a great platform that's expanding.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. Well, we're about to get set ready to go racing now, folks. We're now entering into the sessions. We will be trackside at Spa very shortly. Want to get your predictions in the live chat, folks? Let us know. I can tell you that the rain is coming down, everybody. So, much like we saw at the end of qualifying, moving through to what could have been the race. Obviously, it's not, because we always get a soft lobby reset here. It is raining at Spa, which throws in yet another complicated, I suppose, spanner in the works here. What do you make of this one, Lindsay?
I think this is going to shake it up a tremendous amount. This is now making it so much more exciting. I was thinking before we had the soft lobby reset, I was thinking, oh my God, this would have been fantastic. And then here we are again, raining, and it's absolutely pouring. It is heavy rain here at Spa Francorchamp, and unlike in real life back in 2021, the race will go green and we will go underway for racing. And I think this is going to change up the order entirely. There's going to be potentially some scary moments as people adapt over the course of the opening few laps as well. But I think that this will just mean that Gregory Prisbill, Campbell Adams, Riley McKay and Yusuf, they're just going to rise to the top all that much harder, because it's these drivers that are so good with their driving and adaptability that just stick leaps and bounds above the rest. So I think that we're going to see Gregory Prisbill, Campbell Adams and just that entire top 5 region have quite a good scrap here.
Obviously, Spa Francorchamp known to harness the microclimate in Belgium. Of course, we are racing on the edges of the Ardennes forest and through the hills and the forests of Stavelot as well. On your front row, it will be Campbell Adams and Gregory Prisbill, 2 of your race winners already this season. The most recent one coming from Campbell Adams from Silverstone last time out. It is going to be an extraordinary visit here to Spa, the iconic home of the Belgian Grand Prix, as now the lights are going red. And they go out. It's pedal to the metal. And it's go! Go, 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 go! Great start for Campbell Adams. Well, slightly sluggish away from Gregory Prisbill, and already argy-bargy between Yusuf's side and Riley McKay, who did not get a great start either. They're 3 wide on the run out of Lasour, so far it is Campbell Adams. Yusuf Said, though, getting the best of starts. Brilliant gets away from the Williams. He now sits in second, and Riley McKay getting displaced over third by Gregory Prisbill. Excellent start by Campbell Adams and also by Yusuf Said, and he's going to try and challenge for the lead here as they climb up the hill, heading up through towards Lake Com. Yusuf Said with the inside line tackles Campbell Adams and takes the lead of the race here at Spa.
That was an absolutely fantastic move and a fantastic start from Yusuf to move up into the lead already, up 3 places. That was an absolutely sensational start. He could not have wished for a better start. And Ryan Cox as well, up 3 places. Gregory Prisbill just could not get his car off the line. He's down a place. Oh, as Yusuf's made a mistake. He's off the road into the gravel, and now Campbell Adams is back into the lead, and there's carbon fibre flying off one of these cars, and I can't tell quite yet who it was. I think it might have been Ryan Cox. It was Ryan Cox's front right end plate that's come off the front of his kick Sauber, and that is absolutely disastrous here for Ryan Cox after such a good start. Now he's tumbling down the order. Yusuf back ahead of him, and now Ryan Bell is trying to put the pressure on Campbell Adams, getting back into the lead, remaining and retaining status quo. And Gregory Prisbill coming back up into second place. It was looking so good for Yusuf. A mistake drops him back to third, but he's not down and out.
No, he's not. Still plenty of time left in this race, but obviously it's opened the door now for Campbell Adams to restore himself back to lead supremacy. We've got a mixture of tyres, folks, wets and intermediates, though largely it's mainly in terms of, well, it's mainly the intermediate tyres being owned by the drivers so far. Gregory Prisbill looking slightly more dialed in coming through the bus stop chicane here than our race leader Campbell Adams, and was actually very nearly riding that rear wing. Yusuf Said, though, back and mounting the pressure on the front two, so he's not lost any tread as Ryan Cox retires from the race. I believe that was in the pit lane, so no concerns in terms of any on-track issues, but Campbell Adams will carry on. So a sad end to proceedings here for Ryan Cox on the very first lap of asking, as now they cruise up through Eau Rouge and Radion once more. Campbell Adams with the lead, Gregory Prisbill second, Yusuf Said now 1.2 back, did not get a decent run up the hill and therefore now sits even further back, 1.3 in third place, as now Matt Plevey looks to go for the P8 position against T-Mac around the outside on the Aston Martin, but he left it far too late. And now it will be T-Mac up into 8th place, and Apollo Pepsi on his reserve drive moves up to 9th.
Yep, he's doing absolutely fantastically at the moment as Matt Plevey's on the inside now of Apollo Pepsi. It's a big rear lock up there on the entry from the Ferrari reserve, and it's another snap. It's a little bit of wheel rubbing there between the two of them for P9 and P10 respectively, and now Matt Plevey has the run down the hill in towards Puon, but he's going to go back in. He knows he doesn't need to make an overtake here. That would be pretty reckless from Matt Plevey if he went for it in these conditions. But they're absolutely having a great scrap here as they head down in towards the Lafania chicane. And now Matt Plevey just looking for a move. And in the background, that is the Alpine of Trent Newton looking up the inside of Marcus Costa. He did get alongside, but he has a bit of front wing damage on the end plate of his Alpine, which just meant he just couldn't quite commit to the move. And yeah, there's some fantastic racing going on, and Gregory Prisbill as well is really close to the back of Campbell Adams.
He's been all over the back of Campbell Adams since the very start of this race. He was all over his rear wing coming through the final sector in our previous lap. As now they are about to finish lap 2, soon to start lap 3. Yusuf Said has also recovered also. Remember, he tailed off coming through Eau Rouge and Radion on that last lap. Campbell Adams setting the fastest lap of the race with a 2:01.553. Riley McKay 1.1 outside the window. It looks like Trent Newton has had a moment because MJ Roller's moved up into 11th as well, folks. As now we watch our race leaders now look to head upwards and through towards the Kemmel Straight once more. I do get the sense that Yusuf Said better in the corners so far, which tells me that the wets are the optimal tyre generally around this track. So it's really a split decision, I suppose. Some may choose to run the inters or the wets. There's really not a lot between them right now.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see. I think that both of the tyres are fairly equal. I think it depends on the type of corner that we're seeing them go through at the moment, because I think it's through the slow speed where Yusuf's clawing in a bit of time, but once you get up to speed a little bit, those inters just seem to have the pace, but that could also be driver related at the end of the day. But we did see Yusuf have a fantastic start on the opening lap, so maybe the wets are the better tyre, but he went off, made a mistake, and now he's just going to be trying to close back up, but he's 1.7 seconds behind Gregory Prisball at the moment. In fact, Riley McKay is reeling him in. I think that the intermediate tyres are more than working here in this race here on lap number 3, but the wets are definitely not bad either. I think it's a fairly 50-50 split.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think, honestly, I think the wets were probably at their very best at the very start of the race. Now the inters are coming into play as once again traipsing into the gravel goes Yusuf's side, and Riley McKay now needing no invitation to make the move, and he certainly will do. Straight through in the 3rd place goes Riley McKay in the RB. Of course, you definitely factor him in as a championship contender in any nominal season. Hasn't quite gone that way though, with Campbell Adams and Gregory Prisball currently being the only drivers obtaining race wins so far this season, as now Adams once again punches in the fastest lap of the race. Just seems to have stepped up another level since winning the PSGL championship that he took part in F3, and looking to carry on that momentum once again, this time in the OFI, to take down championship leader Gregory Prisball, as the two polarizing figures in the world of oceanic sim racing now come together once more. Coming uphill through the Kemmel Straight once again, and Gregory Prisball just ensuring that he remains within half a second away from Adams here at this stage, and he'll look to carry this through right through to the end of the race. But it'll be interesting to see how long these tyres are going to hold out. Surely there's going to be a pit stop eventually. The big question will be how the undercut and overcuts are going to work in this scenario here, Lindsay.
Yeah, I mean, in the dry, it's fairly simple. The undercut gains you an absolute boatload of time, but while they're driving what can effectively be considered boats here in these wet conditions, I don't know if it'll have the same effect, but you've got to imagine that that undercut is still going to be very powerful. But with mistakes creeping in more often in the wet, if you're making mistakes on the fresh tyres, the gain definitely won't be as much. So I think it just comes down to the driver. I'm not sure how powerful the undercut and overcut are going to be when we see them happen here in this race in wet conditions. And I'll tell you what, the rain doesn't look like it's going anywhere. It is falling, and it's falling hard.
I can tell you, looking at my forecast screen here, Lindsay, it's actually 94%, pretty much right through. It does descend to 93. That's the best bit of news I can give you here at this point. So we'll now watch and see how this is going to unfold. Two drivers, though, sat at the top, now breaking clear of Riley McKay by 2.8 seconds. McKay's last lap, or his best lap, I should say, was a 2:01.032. So his best lap over half a second to 0.6 slower than the top two here on our screens right now. At the moment, Campbell Adams and Gregory Prisball on a different planet in terms of lap time. They're setting 2:00s, as opposed to many others that are setting 2:01s, as now Riley McKay finally joins the 2:0 club, but his lap time still 0.6 slower than purple sitter Gregory Prisball, who managed to go purple inside that middle sector on that last lap. It was purple in the final sector, though, for Campbell Adams, who seems to have the bus stop chicane sussed, as now Jack Humphreys comes into the pits. It looks like he's making an early stop and has decided to go for an early jump onto the intermediate. So an aggressive undercut here from Jack Humphreys.
Yeah, and you would imagine that that was going to be coming. Somebody's got to roll the dice, and I think that jumping onto the tyre that seems to be quite significantly better now at this point after the opening few laps, he's just got to make that plunge and gain the pace out of it and see what he can do. He's 3 seconds behind the next car, and then another 3 seconds back of Flubber, so he's already nearly onto the back of a train, so he's not too far away in retrospect after that pit stop, so he's got to try and see what he can make work at the moment. But I think that this race is going to be just getting settled into at the moment. These drivers have now figured out these conditions, the chaotic opening few laps behind them, and now they've just got to settle into rhythm, push, see how far the limit goes, and if the track is going to get any quicker over the course of this race as well, and then they'll consider pit stops soon.
Well, I can tell you that Gregory Prisball was fastest inside the first sector. Now Riley McKay is turning on the style. He's gone purple inside the middle sector with a 53.893. And dare I say that it looks like Prisball's getting closer in the front sector, as now we're seeing side-by-side action between Flubber and Marcus Costa. And Costa, who has already been brandished with 2 penalties. He's got 6 seconds against his name. Well, he's just lost P12 now because that's gone Flubber's way.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Gregory Prisball is on the outside of Campbell Adams as they head through turn 1. The leaders go 2 by 2 now as they head up the hill towards Eau Rouge and Radion. They already went side by side through the bus stop chicane. Will it go 2 wide through Eau Rouge? Surely not, and they won't. They go back in to 1 by 1 formation, and now Gregory Prisball is on the hunt. He's well underneath the rear wing of Campbell Adams. He's almost forced to the grass. Campbell Adams defending the inside line as now Gregory Prisball is going to try it the long way round of Lake Com, and he's getting alongside. He's inching ahead, and now as they head in towards Malmedy, Campbell Adams has the inside line. Gregory Prisball forced to back out of it, but now he gets a good exit down towards Rivage. Now he's forced to the outside again. Campbell Adams parking the bus on every apex that he can find, and Gregory Prisball has no response. He's going for it, hammer and song here for the race lead, but Campbell Adams just about holding on.
Well, fisticuffs right through that first sector. That was truly remarkable to watch, but a grand stout defensive effort put on show by Campbell Adams here on lap 6 of 22, able to hold on to that race lead, and all of that inviting Riley McKay back in. It's 1.2 seconds now as Riley McKay could make this a 3-car extravaganza. But an extraordinary moment as Prisball would ask the major questions of Campbell Adams, the championship leader, looking to flex his muscles here on lap 6, fed up of watching the rear wing of that Alpine. They're now going to make their way down in towards the Blanchimont section, the high-speed part of this Belgian racetrack, before heading down in towards the bus stop chicane once more. It is still, though, Campbell Adams in control. It was a purple middle sector again from Riley McKay on this particular lap. That also assisting him in gaining on the back of this front two. And now he does join the train inside of a second. Riley McKay with the fastest lap of the race. He has finally ushered his way into the party. Oxchillo moves into 5th because Yusuf Said has come into the box. He's looking to remove those wet tyres. So it does seem to be the case that the intermediate is the better tyre here at this stage, as now they look to rise up the hill once again. Gregory Prisball this time 7/10 off the pace of Campbell Adams. It has extended outwards by approximately 3/10 of a second as they now charge up the Kemmel Straight in towards Les Combes. Campbell Adams in control. Obviously now we'll see how the initial pit stops are working out. Indeed, Jack Humphreys, who you remember boxed earlier than most onto a set of fresh intermediate tyres. Yusuf Said has already boxed onto a fresh set as well. He's just come out of the pits as now we lose Marcus Costa, who's had riddled issues with penalties so far. Looks like the 2 Williams teammates are going to come nose to tail once again this time, but Flubber not looking to overtake Yusuf Said this time, remains down in 12th place. Knows that Yusuf Said is likely going to be quicker on that fresh set of intermediate tyre. Just whipping the tail out and traipsing into the gravel trap goes Flubber, and that will allow Jack Humphreys to get closer. But a really extraordinary battle between the top 2 in this case here, Lindsay, and Riley McKay getting dropped again out to 1.3.
Yeah, Riley's struggling a little bit here at this point in the race. He did close back up while they're battling, but when it comes back into that 1-by-1, that single file racing where they're nose to tail, Riley seems to drop back a little bit. Maybe the pure pace in the wet conditions just not playing into his hands at the moment. Campbell Adams and Gregory Prisball seem to have a chokehold on that regard as Riley just trying to make sure he stays within that range where he can capitalise. Another battle going on as well at the moment that just spread out is Ryan Bell and Oxchillo for 4th position. They were quite close together as well in a little bit of a battle, but Campbell Adams a 1 minute 57.377, setting the fastest lap of the race so far. He's absolutely flying out there. He's put 8/10 ahead of Gregory Prisball, and he is just absolutely doing his best work at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, you got to bear in mind that we were lapping optimally around the 2.0s. We're now in the 157s. These tyres are starting to, I think, essentially starting to generate here at this point in lap 8 of 22. So Riley McKay trying to recover. We've lost Flubber. Flubber is gone as well. He's decided to retire in the pits. That's 3 cars out of the race here. We're now down to 14 in total, with Joey Snarf the last of the running cars at this stage. As now we see Yusuf Said receiving a 3-second time penalty, which is certainly not going to help his chances And Jack Humphreys all over his tail right now and is actually to the tune of just under 6.5 tenths of a second. So Yusuf Said may well have McLaren company in a minute. So Gregory Prisball 7.5 tenths now back from Campbell Adams, who's looking to turn on the style. Just to say, over the course of the last lap, both Campbell Adams and Gregory Prisball took purple sectors, with Campbell Adams purple in the first and the second sector split going Gregory Prisball's way. So they're both exchanging blow on blow coming through the course of the race so far, as now Campbell Adams goes purple again inside the middle sector. Trent Newton has gone purple in the first sector, so that's come out of nowhere. I'd imagine perhaps he's overextended Eau Rouge and Radion, because he was over a second quicker in one sector alone than MJ Roller in that first sector. So I think there must have been a breach of track limits there, and he has got 3 warnings against his name anyway.
Yep, so Trent definitely having a bit of a moment, probably just had a snap up Eau Rouge and then just decided, you know what, I'm just going to go straight over the top of it. Gained a bit of time as Campbell Adams now into the 56s with a 1 minute 56.9. Once again, setting the pace and setting the standard here in this race, and he just continues to do so out the front. Gregory Prisball able to stay with him. Riley McKay sitting there or thereabouts from about 1.3 to 1.6 seconds back, depending on the lap. So this is what we're dealing with at the moment. These three just going at it, trading lap times, but Campbell Adams at the moment setting fastest lap after fastest lap after fastest lap. It's fantastic to see. He's putting the pressure on. The question is Gregory managing tyres at this point now? Is he able to save a bit of tyre compared to Campbell being able to sit behind him? That is something that we'll find out soon enough, because you've got to imagine that they'll have to pit.
Yeah, well, we've now had another pit stop here, this time from MJ Rolo, who moves on to the intermediate tyres. So that was the last of the wet tyre runners. Now removing that blue wall set. And now moving on to the inters that are surely starting to garner more and more speed. Everyone's starting to lap increasingly into the 158s, but still a ways off our top 3. Just want to say this, the last lap that Campbell Adams managed to post, that was extraordinary, a 156.908. Seems to have lost a little bit of pace though on this lap, because Gregory Prisball has now restored himself to that Alpine rear wing. Riley McKay being dropped again. It's now out to 1.7 seconds here this time. It does seem to be struggling to find the optimal against the front 2 right now, who just keep on exchanging time on time, as now Adams sweeps through towards Blanchimont once again. Both equally matched, both race winners this season. Campbell Adams chasing his second of the campaign. But Gregory Prisball is going to aim to stop that from happening, as they now charge down through towards the bus stop once again. Now coming out of turn 19, they'll look to start their next lap, lap 10 of 22. Ryan Bell, obviously with a penalty against his name, joins the likes of Yusuf Said and Sebastian King, all with penalties in this race so far. We also have the 3 DNFs of Flubber and Marcus Costa, Ryan Cox, who all came into the pit lane to bring an end to their day at the office here at Spa. Is now sweeping uphill goes Campbell Adams, and within 6 tenths to just over 5.5 as they now rise up through the Kemmel Straight. And Riley McKay 1.7 away from the back of them. Ryan Bell 8.7 down in 4th, but currently it's a 2-car story. It's all Campbell Adams and Gregory Prisball flying the flag for Oceanic Sim Racing here once again at Spa, much like they do in PSGL and other leagues that they do take part in. And they certainly have been the dynamic duo in some ways. And you've got to factor in Oscar King as well, who's competed with the likes of these as well in his own time in the past. And once again, obviously, big hello to Oscar in the live chat.
Yep, and it's good to see that even when he's not on the track, he's making his presence known. And yeah, they are absolutely flying the flag and flying it in a really, really good way, both taking part in F2 this season and having some fairly solid results along the way as well. Like Gregory Prisball knocked out a pole position and P2, I believe, in Australia, flying the flag for Australia in PSGL. And yeah, he's had some pretty good results so far this season that's currently ongoing. And Campbell Adams as well, no slouch. He's picking up consistent top 6s as well. And yeah, it's good to see. And then they come back, and they come back at a good time for them. It's not racing at 4 a.m. It's racing at 7:30, 8 o'clock, and then they fly the flag for themselves, fighting for championships here in their home region as well. So they're do everything that they possibly can, get behind, and Campbell Adams with a 56.6 and nearly breaking 1 second to Gregory Prisball. And what I've noticed about Campbell Adams at the moment, in comparison to Gregory Prisball, he's really, really good out of the traction zones.
Yeah, no, it does seem that way, and I think that has largely kept him in this, though I will look at this and say, well, it does seem to be, in terms of the first sector, Campbell Adams has that harnessed. It largely comes in the second sector split, where Gregory Prisball, you're absolutely right here, Lindsay, can bring himself, can rein himself back in, but as soon as we come into sector 3, and when you factor in corners like Blanchimont that are high speed orientated, that seems to me, that's where Campbell Adams flourishes.
Yeah, it absolutely is, and that is something that definitely speaks volumes into the difference in driving styles between the two of them, as well as Gregory Prisball has just made up a load of time, and in fact he's under 3/10 behind Campbell Adams at the moment as they head through the second sector. We're halfway through this race now, and now Gregory Prisball potentially deciding to turn up the pace a bit and put the pressure on. He's gone. It's the halfway point now. Maybe the gloves need to start coming off. He's absolutely pushing really hard at the moment, is Gregory Prisball.
He is. He's all over the tail of the Alpine again. And once again inside this middle sector, but Campbell Adams will look to usher his way out of Corbeil Paul Frere, as now Trent Newton receives a 3-second time penalty. So that's 4 cars that are currently on track at the moment receiving penalties, as it looks like Trent Newton has had a moment into the grass. Well, not him, Matt Plevey even, and Trent Newton gladly obliging and moving up into 8th place on track. But obviously with that penalty, that's not going to sustain, heading through towards the checkered flag. T-Mac on the back of Apollo Pepsi, as now Gregory Prisball makes a decision to come into the pits. He's fed up of waiting in behind Campbell Adams. He's going to try and undercut him through the pits.
Yep, so this is now going to be a critical phase of this Grand Prix. We're just past halfway, and now he pulls the trigger to pull the undercut here in the wet conditions. So let's see what that delta is going to be like. Is Gregory Prisball going to shoot out into traffic? There's just a train right there. It's Apollo Pepsi's train. Can Gregory Prisball beat them out of the pit lane? He does beat them out of the pit lane. He's ahead of the train with clean air in front of him. This is now prime position for Gregory Prisball to try and hop Campbell Adams throughout the undercut. This is fantastic for Gregory Prisball.
He's got plenty of clean air in order to usher in these fast laps. Oxchillo has moved into 3rd ahead of Ryan Bell as well. As 3rd on track, of course, from a net standpoint. It could be Gregory Prisball, your leader, when the pit stops come into play. But Prisball now asking the major questions. Thing is, Campbell Adams has got to respond, has he not? He must do this now.
Yeah, you've got to imagine so. He's now going to be under the pump, a lot of pressure. He was controlling this race, and now he's the one out of control. He might be the one with the first position next to his name, but now he's under so much pressure. The undercut so powerful on F125, so this is now a big moment for Campbell Adams. He has to respond, and he has to respond in a big way. This has to have been a great in-lap here for Campbell Adams, but I'll tell you what, looking at the sector split compared to his previous best and fastest lap of the Grand Prix, it's 8/10 back, so this tyre's clearly experiencing a drop-off, so this could not be good news here for Campbell Adams. He might drop the lead from the undercut here from Gregory Prisball. Let's see if he decides to dive into the pit lane.
I would imagine he will. Oh no, he's not! He's carrying on! Yes, he's not coming in. Campbell Adams stays out. Now, is this him? Because obviously you don't have to take a pit stop here at in wet conditions in Formula One. So whether he does decide to attempt going all the way, I'm not quite sure. But I find it utterly bizarre that if you're going to pit, surely you'd respond straight away to Gregory Prisball. Ryan Bell has come in. We've got Matt Plevey in the pits as well. So everyone else is jumped into the box a lap later than Gregory Prisball, but the one driver you would have expected to come in, Campbell Adams, has decided to carry on. Bizarre scenes here. Surely he's got to commit to this to the very end now.
Yeah, surely. It is absolutely a risky strategy here for Campbell Adams, and Riley McKay stayed out as well. This is risky times for them. Gregory Prisball is, hold on, how far away is he from the lead at the moment? He's only 17.5 seconds back. With fresh tyres, depending on the tyre delta, this is now going to be a very good opportunity for Gregory Prisball to close in, and I think that it could come down to the final moments of the race. It depends on how quickly Gregory Prisball closes in, but this could mean that lap 22 is going to be very, very interesting, because I don't know how quickly Greg is going to close in.
Well, let me just say this. I mean, I do want to say that the rain is going to peter off later on. I will tell you that. Of course, when I was looking at the forecast coming into this, now I wasn't sure if we were going to see the benefits of it. It was going to say in 30 minutes' time that the rain was going to be around 32%. And according to my rain charts, the rain prediction, it does sort of peter out towards the bitter end. So whether Campbell Adams is hoping that the track is going to dry up before the checkered flag and then come in for a slick tyre set, I'm not quite sure, but this is an extraordinary gamble on his part, because he is praying for that drier weather to come in now as Gregory Prisball goes purple inside the middle sector. If you're Campbell Adams right now, you've surely got to commit to these inters.
Yeah, he has to. There's no two ways about it. Gregory Prisball closed in a second on that last lap and has done a 1 minute 56.328. And I think that the tyre deficit, it'll only become more apparent as Campbell Adams' tyres go absolutely down a cliff. And we know that the inters can hold consistent pace for a reasonable amount of time. So it begs the question, there's a yellow flag. Newton straight on at the first corner, and he's trying to get out of the wall, and he's gone on forwards at La Source. That is a bizarre accident there for Trent Newton, but the undercut now, it is imperative for Gregory Prisball to pull it off. He's getting very close to the back of Oxchillo.
Yeah, well, listen now, regardless, I mean, if Campbell Adams was to come in, he's basically handing the race win over to Gregory Prisball. He has got to go long here, Campbell Adams. He has got to carry this right through to the checkered flag to hold any hopes of winning here at Spa, because if he comes in, he will lose so much time after Gregory Prisball's aptly timed pit stop. The cards are stacked right now in the corner of Gregory Prisball, and the factors of risk here for Campbell Adams, you know, are various. Obviously, bear in mind, each lap we progress, Campbell Adams' tyre wear is only going to increase, and then on top of that, there's the risk of puncture. You simply don't know what's going to happen. We obviously expect the rain to continue right through to the checkered flag, though despite that, the radar is suggesting that we will see the rain peter out late in the day. It's going to be interesting. Does Campbell Adams have the stomach to hold out for this race win? As now we see Oxchillo under fire. Here from Gregory Prisball again. They're going to go wheel to wheel on the run down through towards the bus stop chicane. And Gregory Prisball marching himself back onto the podium here on track with fresher intermediate tyres, and now 12.3 to 12.4 away from Riley McKay.
Yeah, this is now the chase down that is going to take you towards the end of this race. 7 laps, fresher tyres for Gregory Prisball, and a puncture territory that's going to become scarily close for Campbell Adams' liking heading into this final stint of the race. His only stint of the race in the case of Campbell Adams. This is now going to be a chase down for the ages. If Gregory Prisball can pull it off, this will be a fantastic drive, but it goes the same way for Campbell Adams. If he can make the no-stop strategy work, this is going to be a very, very big masterclass when it comes to tyre wear and controlling the pace and controlling a race. Campbell Adams is absolutely putting himself against the wall, but he's going to try and pull it off anyway.
Yeah, I think the one issue, though, that he's going to have is that he's not really closing enough here, Gregory Prisball. Last lap, it was 7/10 in terms of deficit between both Gregory Prisball and Campbell Adams. He needs to ideally march out a second plus a lap on these tyres. Campbell Adams can make this work, but it's totally dependent on what his tyre life percentage looks like. I do want to also usher in that Campbell Adams hasn't had a single warning yet. He has kept it well between the lines, whereas Gregory Prisball has got 3 warnings against his name. One more wrong misstep here, Lindsay, and it could be a penalty going Gregory Prisball's way.
Yeah, and that is crucial, and that's not what Gregory Prisball will want when he needs to push the car that much harder. And now he has to play it a little bit safer with the track limits. That is the opposite of what you want when you're in the cockpit of the car, trying to push and push and push towards the back of your rival, and the only other person in this championship who has won a round, you won't want him to get another one on you, and now he has to drive at not full push.
Well, he's got plenty of clean air anyway, Gregory Prisball, and he ushers in yet again another fastest lap of the race, and this time it was 9/10 faster than our race leader, Campbell Adams. Of course, last lap for Campbell Adams was a 1:57.2. It was a 1:56.3 from Gregory Prisball, so 9/10 difference over the last lap. But he needs more than that, Gregory Prisball, ideally, in order to rein himself closer. At the moment, the time gap sits 14.5 seconds between Prisball and Riley McKay. And then by extension, we are talking nigh on 18 seconds between the man in P3 and the man in P1 right now. No, in fact, no, that's ultimate gap. Sorry, it's 14.7. I'm adding to the total. It is 14.7 between Gregory Prisball and Campbell Adams. So he needs more than a second a lap if he's going to make this happen. That's if Campbell Adams can take it to the bitter end.
Yeah, Gregory Prisball needs 2 seconds a lap, and I don't think that's going to happen. Now he's going to be relying on Campbell Adams getting a puncture, which it is possible. With 6 laps to go, 22 laps on intermediates is a very long time to stretch it. So the puncture definitely not out of the picture, but I think at the moment it's pretty much Gregory Prisball's only hope.
Yeah, no, I think it is at this stage. Campbell Adams has pulled off a masterclass of a performance here, but you can't blame Gregory Prisball for trying it. He knows at the moment that he does hold the lead of the championship. He can afford to make these manoeuvres, and in his mind he probably thought, well, I'm stuck behind Campbell Adams. At this point, there's no benefit here. We've come to loggerheads. It's only invited Riley McKay into the fight. Maybe we try something a little bit different. Maybe try something unorthodox. Go for an early pit stop. Try and force Campbell Adams to jump. But the mental fortitude for Campbell Adams to usher in and carry on an old set of intermediate tyres. He's not the only one to do that as Gregory Prisball takes yet another fastest lap of the race. This time he has bypassed a second a lap quicker. In fact, it's more than that. We're talking just over 2 seconds quicker than Campbell Adams over the last lap. So that's where he needs to be. Needs to be over 2 seconds a lap faster every time.
Yeah, a 55.5 is a blistering lap time for Gregory Prisball, but can he keep that pace up, or is Campbell Adams adversely going to have to slow up a little bit, and then that time deficit gets bigger even when Gregory Prisball isn't doing 55s? That is the question that we'll see soon be answered as we head deeper into this one, and we'll probably get a clearer picture of what the true deficit is at the end of this lap, because once the deficit per lap gets a bit more consistent, we can see what we're really looking at. But 2 seconds is exactly what Gregory Prisball needs, and he is absolutely flying around the circuit at the moment. Campbell Adams just starting to show signs that those tyres are not up to scratch. He's sliding around a little bit, struggling a little bit through some of the slow speed exits, and I think that is what's causing the time gain here. As you can even see from Gregory Prisball's gap to Riley McKay, it's staying fairly stagnant between the top two. Gregory Prisball is just inching forward towards Riley McKay at a rate of knots.
Yeah, he is. 8.3 now between McKay and Prisball. It's another purple middle sector for Gregory Prisball as well. He's just ushered in a 51.156 here for now. The gap now between the leader and the man in P3 is now 11.1. Still a ways off from where he needs it to be, but if he starts charging out 2 to 3 seconds a lap, that could be all the difference. I mean, at the end of the day, if he does lap 2 seconds a lap consecutively now for the remaining laps that we do have left, it will all come down to the final lap. And that is a distinct possibility here at this stage. It's a 1:55.7 this time from Gregory Prisball, though that's not 2 seconds a lap. Unfortunately, at the moment, that's faring at 1.6 seconds a lap, as I dare see it. In fact, it's less than that. It's 1.4, I think, at this stage. So Gregory Prisball needed ideally another 0.6 on Campbell Adams over the last lap in order to get anywhere closer. But with 4 or 5 laps to go, the pressure's mounting here for Prisball to really unlock the potential on these intermediate tyres.
Yeah, he's really running out of time at the moment. He needs to start driving like it. Otherwise, he is not going to get to the back of Campbell Adams by lap 22. This isn't going to be ideal here for Gregory Prisball. He needs to close in that much more, and I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. As we said earlier, George, I think that the puncture is the only hope here for Gregory Prisball. Campbell Adams surely has to be closing in on, if not at the puncture window on those intermediate tyres.
I have no doubt. I mean, obviously that is the grand concern, and we can ride on board here with Campbell Adams, who is just looking to nurse the car home. Of course, the other factor is whether Campbell Adams does receive a penalty, because ultimately that is another distinct possibility that could throw the race in Gregory Prisball's favour, in which case he only needs to get to within a certain delta depending on the level of penalty that Campbell Adams gets. But unfortunately for Gregory Prisball, there are no warnings against Campbell Adams' name. He has driven perfectly so far this race and is not risking anything. He knows if he just manages the tyres, keeps it within the white lines, that is all he needs to do, and he currently holds a lead of 2.6 seconds over Riley McKay, who is also on 3 warnings. Gregory Prisball on 3 warnings as well. So in terms of Campbell Adams' race so far, everything is stacked in his favour. The only thing that goes against him is the length of life that has been sustained on his tyres.
Yeah, and Gregory Prisball only 1.8 seconds quicker than Campbell Adams on that last lap. It's certainly not enough. He might not even catch P2 set of Riley McKay, who currently sits 2.7 seconds shy of Campbell Adams. He's out of time. I think he's at his limit of pace. Campbell Adams just controlling at the moment, and without a warning or any issues in sight, it looks like he should be home free. You never know. 2.5 laps remaining to go in this Grand Prix. But still, anybody's guess. But if you had to make a bet, you've got to say your money would be on Campbell Adams. He looks home free.
He does certainly look like he's home free. Just a little moment, though, coming over Pouon, just dipping that rear right tyre onto the race curb at Pouon. Can't afford for too many of those. It's going to be treacherous enough here at Spa without the use of tyres that are far beyond their very best. But Campbell Adams just looking to extract every little iota of performance out of them in order to charge home with yet another victory to join Gregory Prisball in becoming a back-to-back race winner this season in the OFI Cup. This has been an astonishing drive here from Campbell Adams, but keeping it nice and tidy right to the bitter end is going to be his next mission. It's 4.7 seconds now between Gregory Prisball and Riley McKay, and he is closing all the time on the man in P2. And I can tell you that he was faster than Riley McKay by approximately 1.7 seconds in that middle sector alone. So Gregory Prisball finding oodles of time against Riley McKay right now. And I can only imagine if he really lays down the hammer, he should be able to close up to the back of the RB in the next couple of laps, and it could yet be all decided within the next 2 laps, including this one. He needs to unlock the door to at least take a P2 here.
Yeah, he absolutely does. The P2 is going to be critical, otherwise Campbell Adams will get a fairly solid chunk of points in towards Gregory Prisball, which is exactly what he wants, not what Gregory Prisball wants whatsoever. So at the moment, Greg needs to get his head down and at least get P2. 4.3 seconds the gap, 2 laps remaining though. He's got a big road ahead of him and he's got the gap to close. He does have the pace at the moment to get towards Riley McKay though. He just needs to continue to push towards it, not make any mistakes, and he should be at least in the opportunity to finish in second place. But in the scheme of the championship, Campbell Adams will still be closing in points for the second round running. And I think that Campbell Adams, he's just looked untouchable. He looked untouchable in Silverstone. Now here in Spa, he was controlling the race through the first stint, got pole position, was on provisional pole all session as well. And now here in the race, as you were saying, George, not a single warning to his name. He is just cool, calm and collected.
Yeah, he is just really managing the situation. Gregory Prisball once again going 1.8 seconds faster this time around than Riley McKay. And really starting to lay down the hammer against the man in P2. It's now 2.4 seconds between them, and with 2 laps to go, as they're about to cross the line, there is a great chance here for Prisball to lock horns with McKay, who's going to have less than useful tyres. And it does seem to me that the largest chunk is lost in that technical middle sector, which is exactly where you need your tyres to perform, because at the end of the day, it relies on traction in order to pull you out of corners like the Lafayette chicane, for example, or Campus and Stavelo. They are the key areas where you need grip on your side here.
Yeah, they absolutely are, and this is just working into Gregory Prisbill's hand at the moment. Another thing to consider as well, if he doesn't catch and pass Riley McKay, Riley's closer to Greg in the championship than Campbell Adams is, only by 5 points, or 4 points, but still he's also in this hunt. So Campbell Adams and Riley McKay will be very similar on points and both closing in on Gregory Prisbill. So despite winning 4 in a row, now the form or the decision-making here of Gregory Prisbill just looks a little bit off, but you've got to imagine he'll get Riley here heading towards the final lap of this race.
Yeah, he was almost sideways as well coming through out of Malmedy and heading down towards Rivage Corner. And now heading down through Pouon once again for the penultimate time. Of course, we are on the penultimate lap of the race. The next lap will be the final lap. And we will see perhaps some drama in our final lap of closing here at Spa Francorchamp, despite it not being the battle we perhaps thought it would have been, and that is for the race lead. That has largely stayed within the clutches of Campbell Adams. And of course, you take out an almighty chunk of this circuit inside this first sector, nigh on matching in terms of sector times in the first sector of the top 3, despite having clear disparity in terms of tyre life, as now Gregory Prisbill is inches away from leaping within that 1 second gap as they storm down through towards the bus stop chicane. It's 1.1 now between Prisbill and McKay. And I'd imagine if it's going to happen, it will be on the run up through Kemmel, where Prisbill will look to unlock the door on Riley McKay and challenge for that P2 position as they now come out of La Source this time. Just 5 tenths between these two as they battle over second place. Next up, a run coming up through Eau Rouge and indeed Radion. In order to maximise his points levy, Gregory Prisbill has got to go for the move here and now. The rain light blinking on the back of the RB in second place. Gregory Prisbill asking the major questions. Defensive manoeuvre here from Riley McKay. He's not going to go down without a fight, but Prisbill around the outside, committing to it on the edges of Lacombe, heading through Malmedy. He gains second place here on the final lap. It's not all doom and gloom for the Red Bull. He makes his strategy work and reclaims the spot that he once owned at the start of the race.
Yep, that was a good move and a critical move for Gregory Prisbill. It's too little too late to go and chase Campbell Adams, unless Prisbill does suffer a puncture here on the final lap, but at least he's going to retain where he was before the pit stops. But Campbell Adams has made this no-stop strategy work a treat. 3.5 seconds out in front at the moment, and this has been a beautiful drive from Campbell Adams as he heads in towards the final sector for the last time of 22 laps here in Belgium. And Gregory Prisbill still pushing hard but making mistakes, and Campbell Adams is just about going to get this one home. I think give it 1 or maybe 2 more laps, he would have ran out of time, but Gregory Prisbill, despite his efforts, is going to fall short. So heading through the bus stop chicane, it's going to go Campbell Adams' way here in Belgium, here in round number 6. After making the no-stop strategy work, it'll be relief here for Campbell Adams as he crosses the line to win the Grand Prix ahead of Gregory Prisbill by 2.6 seconds, and Riley McKay rounds out the podium places. But a phenomenal drive from Campbell Adams. He did not put a singular foot wrong.
Flawless, simply flawless. The PSGL PCF3 champion has returned here to the OFI to become the second driver this campaign to take back-to-back victories in the Oceanic region in terms of the OFI Cup, brought to you by Motorsport Australia. He won last time out at Silverstone. He's returned to yet another iconic legendary circuit that sat at the very start of Formula One in its induction as a motorsport championship all the way back in 1950. He has taken victories at both of those circuits, and now looking to lay down the hammer upon Gregory Prisbill, who has had it largely his own way for the first 4 races of the season. But take nothing away from Gregory Prisbill. He made a strategy somewhat work. He decided to pit, opt for the fresh intermediate tyres, and did enough to overtake Riley McKay for second on the final lap. But it was not enough to beat this man. Campbell Adams, your winner here at Spa Francorchamp.
Yep, and Campbell Adams couldn't have wished for it better himself, making that strategy work, and he will be delighted with the result. It would have been stressful. There would have been a lot of tyre saving involved, but to make that strategy work, the sigh of relief as he crossed the line would have been immense. The second he realised he was home free, he would have been so delighted, and Gregory Prisball had to try something. He was stuck behind Campbell Adams. So when you see him at least try something different, it's always good to see. He sets the fast lap by a comfortable margin because of it as well, with a 1 minute 55.5, but just falls short of Campbell Adams, but a P2, not bad nonetheless.
Yeah, well, standing tall on the podium will be in the Alpine. Campbell Adams ushering himself to the front in back-to-back rounds will lift the winning trophy aloft here at the iconic Spa Francorchamp, and beating back the attempted efforts from the Red Bull of your championship leader, Gregory Prisball, who will still reign as championship leader come the close of this Spa Francorchamp extravaganza. Riley McKay in third place just could not quite find the delta he needed to close up onto the front two. Let's take a look at the final results. Campbell Adams, your winner here at the close of the race here at Spa. Gregory Prisball in second place. Riley McKay in third, ahead of Oxchillo in fourth, ahead of Yusuf Said, who had his own fair share of problems, also amassing a penalty in his own right, ahead of T-Mac. Jack Humphreys, he went on an alternate strat. He's in seventh, ahead of Apollo Pepsi, then Matt Plevey, MJ Roller, Sebastian King, Ryan Bell, Joey Snarf. Trent Newton, of course, crashed earlier on. We lost Flubber, Marcus Costa, and Ryan Cox. So that is how the results were laid out. That is all she wrote from Spa, but we look ahead to a really incredible plethora of races still to come, folks. Like I said, we've only just breezed into the second half of the season, but it definitely seems to be, at the moment, Lindsay, from what we have garnered from early rounds and also this round, it is the Gregory Prisball Campbell Adams show.
Yeah, it really is, and these two just leaps and bounds above the rest on their day. They are just looking unstoppable, and Campbell Adams in particular, he's been looking really strong. Gregory Prisball took 4 on the trot, though, not to take anything away from that. That was fantastic driving. It was absolutely sublime to watch, but I think had Campbell Adams not had 2 non-starters, this championship would be a lot closer. But what a fantastic effort from Campbell Adams it's been so far, and Gregory Prisball still out in front by a sizable margin, so he'll still be feeling pretty safe, but seeing Campbell Adams just slowly chip away at it definitely won't be easy.
No, it certainly won't be. Obviously, we've got a very exciting remainder of the season to bring you, and I mean, I must say, obviously, whilst it wasn't necessarily as exciting for the on-track action, I think that probably the only time we actually saw a battle between the two eventual P1 and P2 sitters was on lap 6, wasn't it, Lindsay? When obviously we saw the chaos really unfold. And I think after ultimately Campbell Adams defended that manoeuvre from Gregory Prisball, I think that answered really Gregory Prisball's question in terms of perhaps the better option is to box and try and undercut the eventual winner.
Yeah, I think that is what led to the decision there for Gregory Prisball, but we can ask him that in a moment's time here, as we should have interviews in a moment with the 3 podium sitters. But yeah, that was probably a turning point in the mind of Gregory Prisball, but the strategy just about not working out, and Campbell Adams was able to hold on.
Well, I can tell you that we do have some of our podium sitters with us inside the commentary box. We'll kick things off with Riley McKay, who would come home in third at the close of this. Riley, great having you here with us as well. Hope you're keeping well. A busy race. The rain poured down in the race itself, but just give us some insight on qualifying. How did you think it went?
Well, I think that qualifying was good. I had done like 30 minutes of practice because I'm pretty busy with end of year just assignments, exams and whatnot. So I actually hadn't played the game in about 2 weeks, so to be P3 was like a bit of a relief because I knew in the race it would just come naturally. But but then it was wet, and so that all went out, out the books, whatever the saying is. It was meant to be full wet the whole way through for the race, but it wasn't. It actually went into at the end, which made the tyre wear quite more extreme than I had anticipated. I think I ended on 81%. Unfortunately, I think I got the setup wrong a bit because of those panels. I just thought it'd be a bit wetter, and so a bit draggy on the straight. But I think ultimately, I think that's a fair effort. Obviously, Greg and Campbell aren't like slouches. They've done a lot of PSL prep here, both very fast. So to be P3 in sort of like only 4.5 seconds in these conditions, I think I'll take that.
Yeah, I think judging from your words then, obviously we saw you, at the time you were approximately 1.2, 1.3, I think at one point, then you managed to get yourself back to within a second, all but briefly, whilst the top two were fighting it out. Is it the case you just didn't think you had their pace today at Spa?
Yeah, once they settled down, it was about a tenth and a half. I think they both had on me. I think particularly Greg was a little bit faster than me. So I was sort of thinking, hopefully they both box. Hopefully the staying out is the right call, which it was the right call. But no, Campbell, I think he saw that as well. And unfortunately, P2 was the max. Couple mistakes that lost me, around 2 seconds. Potentially could have given me P2, but I made the right call, which I'm happy with. But yeah, the pace was just a little bit off, but that was expected. So yeah.
Well, I'll throw the next question over to you, Lindsay.
To be honest, George, I think you covered your bases pretty well. But if I had to ask one question, it would be about where we head off to next. So we head off to Austin, Texas, next time out. I know that you've typically, in previous titles, enjoyed that track. Is the feeling mutual on F1 25?
Yeah, we always love Coda. It'll be fun.
Well, we look forward to it. Riley, congratulations on the podium. P3 in your pocket. We'll see you next time when we go to Texas.
Cheers, George.
Thank you very much, Riley McKay, everybody. Next up, we'll speak to our P2 sitter, Gregory Prisball, championship leader, of course, coming into this round, and will reign as championship leader more so as we head through to the United States circuit. Gregory, just you tried your luck, didn't you, through the course of that race? A fantastic qualifying where both you and Campbell Adams exchanged fastest laps. Of course, it was all about the race, wasn't it? You challenged him on lap 6. You were unsuccessful, but you gave him a great effort. Was that the prerequisite move that then enforced you to perhaps try the undercut strategy in order to perhaps throw Campbell off his guard?
Well, like you said, the overtake I attempted for the entire first stint, during the whole lap, whatever it was. If I couldn't get past him, then I don't think I could have got past him for the rest of the race. This game, and like Riley said, we both went higher on the wings because we thought it was going to be a lot wetter than it was. We thought it was going to be 3-4 seconds a lap slower than we were going at the end because of, there was no point running the lower wing if it was full wet, but it wasn't. And yeah, just too high wing, couldn't really overtake, and I had to do something different if I wanted to try win, and yeah, didn't end up working. Really lucky I got Riley though. I don't think without a couple of mistakes from him I would have got him. But yeah, P2, I'll take it.
Yeah, I want to ask you from your perspective as well, because you got pretty much poached right at the race start from Yusuf's side, I think, right at the very beginning of the race. He had an unbelievable getaway and eventually actually pipped Campbell Adams for the race lead until he had that brief mistake going into the gravel coming up through Jackie Expen. From your standpoint, were the wets a better tyre at the start of the race?
Yeah, I think absolutely. For the first 3 laps, the wets were much quicker than the inters. I remember distinctly, on day 1 of the game, did wet laps here, just because why not? And yeah, just like back then, the wets are really, really good on the opening laps when it's full wet, but then they just fall off the cliff 2 laps later.
Yeah, crazy stuff. I'm going to throw it over to Lindsay now. Over to you, Lindsay.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to touch on a little bit more of that sort of decision to move on to the pit stop stage. I mean, you were trying to get that move done on Campbell. He was defending really heavily to the inside. You just kept trying the outside move. Did you just feel like trying to risk it? The risk versus reward of trying to force that gap down the inside just wasn't worth it?
So, I mean, when I'm like with my championship situation, there's no point me risking, like taking that high risk over a couple of points. So, yeah, I just maybe in hindsight I could have sent a send or a dive or something down the inside, but I knew I was higher wing than him, so I sort of just always thought I'd be able to get better traction off exits, and sort of did, but it just wasn't enough. You know, this game you can't overtake, especially in the wet.
Well, just
Yeah, it's more than fair. Oh.
yeah, I think obviously just to touch on your question from earlier on as well, Lindsay. In terms of Texas, we've got coming up next. What do you make of that, Gregory?
I enjoy it. It's one of my favorites, but I know Campbell's quick there as well, so it'll be another fight at the top between us, 4 or 5 of us. It'll be fun.
It will be close. It will be close. We wish you the very best of luck. Did you have one final question there to ask, Lindsay? Apologies, I cut in there.
And I was about to get to the question you just asked.
It's in sync, obviously. But congratulations, though, Gregory. Fantastic effort. P2 in your pocket. You still come out championship leader, and we'll look forward to seeing you when we head to Texas.
Thank you.
Nice one. Gregory Prisbell, everybody. We now bring in Campbell Adams, who becomes the second driver this season to take back-to-back wins here this season. Great to have you with us, Campbell. A fantastic race on your account. Of course, you arrive in as a PSGL champion. So much momentum behind you, and I think probably you might be kicking yourself that you weren't able to necessarily take the fight to Gregory Prisbell in the previous rounds that, of course, we witnessed. But the most important thing here is that you are twice a race winner in succession, and obviously now looking to draw the best account you can in the remaining races we do have left. But a great performance.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously can't do much about missing 2 races, but no, Greg's been good. You know, he's won, I think, what was it, 4 in a row, 5 in a row, whatever it was. So no, credit to him. He's done really well at the start of the season. But yeah, to get 2 wins on the bounce is good. Good momentum. We'll see how Texas goes.
Well, I want to ask, because obviously the big talking point is the decision for Gregory Prisbell to pit when he did and try and undercut you after the unsuccessful effort at overtaking around on lap 6. Was there any thought in your mind that you would box a lap later, or were you fully committed to that no-stop strategy?
No, I was fully committed. I was checking my tyre wear, making sure it was going as planned, and yeah, as soon as I saw I was easily making it to the end and it was an 18-second gap, I knew all I had to do was just manage my tyres, didn't have to push, and if he was in range, then I just had to pick up the pace, so I was pretty in control, pretty comfortable.
Great stuff. I'll throw it over to Lindsay.
Yeah, and I mean, you looked so cool, calm and collected over the course of qualifying and the race. You didn't put a foot wrong, no warnings. When it came to just controlling that race, were you really calm, or was there a bit of nerves there, you just weren't showing it, or just enlighten me?
Well, I thought I threw it all away in qualifying, to be honest, when I missed the bus stop chicane. So I thought I might have given Greg a free pole, but no, I was lucky to get that. And then that obviously, as it was raining, that saved me, that I was able to be on pole, because that's what basically won me the race. Whoever was first into turn 1, well, obviously it was Yusuf, but whoever was first of the inter runners was most likely to win the race, because you can just control it. And I knew I was on lower wing, so I knew I was able to just control it as long as I got a decent exit. So yeah, it was pretty controllable and comfortable.
Yeah, great stuff then. Obviously looking ahead to Texas, we've been asking all the other drivers this particular question as well. I mean, what do you make of it, Campbell? Do you think you can unlock the door and go 3 in a row and get closer to the tally that Gregory Prisbell has managed to usher in this season?
I do like Texas. I did all right there in PSG. Obviously, it didn't finish too well, but I think quality pace is strong, and I think my race pace is all right. So, I mean, we'll see how it goes. I'm sure Greg, Riley, Oscar, and Yusuf, and a few more will all be up to pace. So, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, well, we wish you all the very best. Thank you so much Gregory for joining. Should I say? Not Gregory, sorry, Campbell Adams for joining us.
No.
We do appreciate it. Sorry for tarring you with the Gregory Prisball brush there. Not that that's necessarily tarring, but Campbell, congratulations. Congratulations on a great victory, and we wish you all the very best for the rest of the championship.
Thanks, mate. Cheers, guys.
Nice one. Campbell Adams, everybody. A fantastic character and certainly one of the flying rising stars of the Oceanic scene there. I don't know what came over me, folks. A bit of a dull moment. It does happen from time to time, obviously. But Lindsay, I mean, what a way to end the day. It's been a bit of a manic one from mixed conditions if we factor in what we saw in qualifying and indeed the race. Obviously, at the end of play, it was a full wet race. But interesting to hear from Campbell Adams' standpoint, deciding to commit to that no-stop strategy. He had that routed right from start to finish. So it was all planned and conceived. It was just executed perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, he just looked absolutely unstoppable. And I mean, even after qualifying where he thought he threw it away, he didn't throw it away. And then it just worked so well for him when push came to shove in the race, making that no-stop strategy work. I don't think anybody could have seen that coming. I mean, I was convinced from the start that there was going to be a pit stop. And then Greg making his way into the pit lane, that basically confirmed it for me. And then Campbell just stayed out. And then from there, we knew he was committing to it. And yeah, it looked like it was going to be a very tight strategy, and in the end it really didn't end up being. Campbell took it by 2.6 seconds. Yeah,
it was a well-worked strategy on part of Gregory Prisball, in a sense, not to box at all here in this case. But we could take a look at the points as well, folks. Obviously, you can't see it on your screen, but I can see it on my. Gregory Prisball, your current championship leader, now extends his gap to 138 points. I say extends, in fact, it has closed because obviously Campbell Adams won that last race. He has now brought that points total to 89 as Campbell Adams. He is only 7 clear of Riley McKay. So the gap to the top, as it stands, if I'm working it out correctly, this is where my mental maths becomes slightly challenging. It works out to me at 49 points between the top two in the championship. So still all to play for. Points can be yet won and lost in a blink of an eye. 49 points between the top two. 56 between Riley McKay and Gregory Prisball at the top of the shop. Also Oscar King, who now steps in as a reserve, not here tonight because he is on affairs elsewhere. He's fourth in the championship on 72 and well clear of Jack Humphreys in fifth, who's on 44. He is 94 points outside of Gregory Prisball's current points total. Of course, Gregory Prisball, a 2-time champion, and Jack Humphreys, a 3-time champion. If Gregory Prisball wins this season here, Lindsay, he will equal the number of championships in the OFI with Jack Humphreys, should he pull that out.
Yeah, and you've got to imagine it wouldn't be his last either. He's so quick, so it'll either be him, Campbell, Riley or Oscar at the top, unless somebody else comes through really impressively to get to their sort of level. But they just look on top of the world, on top of the region at the moment, and close to on top of the world as well with their PSGL titles. And so you've got to imagine if he wins this next one, it puts him on par, and then surely he's going to make the extra effort to go above and beyond to win the next one.
Yeah, well, folks, we've enjoyed it. We hope you guys have as well. It has been an absolute pleasure bringing you all the action. If you haven't done so already, you know what to do. Please make sure, if you're watching on Twitch, to leave a follow to the Oceania F1 Invitational Twitch channel, or the OFI Cup, as it's now aptly called. Powered and brought to you by Motorsport Australia. Also, if you've enjoyed the broadcast, big thank you to all of you for tuning in and having the pleasure of your company once again for an OFI broadcast. If you've indeed enjoyed the commentary, like I said, please leave a follow. But where can they find you, Lindsay, on social media? That's what they all want to know.
Well, I have a couple of platforms. So on TikTok, which is my main platform that I display a lot of my work, you can find me on at Lindsay Model. So just my full name, no spaces. And then on Instagram, it's just Lindsay Model Commentary, no spaces. So those are the two platforms where I like to get my work out there. And what about you, George?
You can find me, folks, at George Morgan TV on Twitter, Instagram, and of course TikTok. It's always the same, folks. George Morgan TV. That is where you'll find me. But on this day, at the close of play, Campbell Adams marched through to a second successive victory, but can he put a stopper to the Gregory Prisball force, who currently sits at the top of the championship in a bid to once again lift a title? here in the OFI. Can he return to the top step when we head to Texas next time? Join us next week, same time, for more action in the OFI Cup, brought to you by Motorsport Australia. From all of us here, goodbye.
Thank you.